Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on in Chockable, and we've got longtime fools Dan Kaplinger and Tyler Crow giving a 1 to 10 rating to a top 100 stock in the primary Hidden Gems database. It's Carlisle Companies, ticker symbol CSL. Rate the strength of Carlisle's business first, including factors like industry and competition. 10 is invincible, 1 is hopeless. Dan's at an 8. Tyler, you're at a 9.
Anand, I have been waiting so long for you to let me talk about a company that does HVAC duct sealant, because that is one of the many products that Carlisle Companies does. It's basically a building products company that specializes in like weatherproofing and some other various like external paneling and things like that, very much focused in the commercial construction industry. Companies in construction like Carlisle, I think, get a bad rap because the new construction market is cyclical, and residential spending for rehabs or whatever home project you want to do is like based on like interest rates and construction cycles. But Carlisle is 82% commercial buildings, and 61% of it is replace and remodeling. So it's a little bit less cyclical than most other building materials that are more residential focused. And also companies that focus so much of their time on presenting return on invested capital in their investor presentations like Carlisle, it's going to be near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, Anand, companies like this, there's so many little things that go into the buildings or the homes or things that you see, the things that you never see, but that make a really big difference. That's what Carlisle is doing. It's got various trends supporting it in areas like sustainability, as well as special use case construction, like we've seen data centers kind of come in. There is an element of cyclicality. I agree with Tyler. It is somewhat insulated from the cyclicality. Not super fast growth, but it is a solid business for sure.
Insulated from the cyclicality. I like that, Dan. And if you're wondering if Tyler was being sarcastic or earnest, I can assure you Tyler was being
That's
earnest.
That's for you
to
decide.
Oh, you were pretty earnest about building materials. For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Both of you have 8s, Tyler.
Yeah, so one of the things I really appreciate about management was focus. This used to be a much more diversified company, kind of one of those like industrial conglomerates, but basically they ditched a lot of their like brakes division, its fluid business and things like that. They weren't bad businesses per se, but they just weren't a great fit for what they wanted to do, and they wanted to focus on building products in particular. And I think management is more or less incented to do the right thing with their pay package. That's pretty a recurring theme for me, is if management has a North Star that fits investor incentives, it's probably going to work.
Yeah, Chris Cook's had about a decade in the corner suite as CEO, and I think he's done a perfectly reasonable job with a company, again, that's really flown below the radar, but has been really on a good trajectory for quite a while, and Cook's doing a good job leading that forward.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Dan's at a 7, Tyler, you're at an 8.
Yeah, grading on a curve a little bit because this is a cyclical business, but even in that sense, it's surprisingly resilient. Like over the past 10 years, the worst return on capital result it had over that time was 9%, which is quite good. And managers projecting 25% returns on capital and a 15% free cash flow margin in 2026. And on top of that, for, the investor in us, it's planning some big share buyback programs, which is a great way to return all that free cash flow to us.
Yeah, I think if I were on the same curve Tyler was using, my 7 would probably be an 8 as well. It's consistently profitable. It's had good cash flow. It does have some debt on the balance sheet, but nothing that makes me too uncomfortable. Very comfortable with the 7 here.
All right, Dan, let's move on to valuation. How well will Carlisle's stock do, and how safe is it? Stock do over the next 5 years. How safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, so I gave it a return score 10 to 15% and a safety score of 6. Those who've watched my scoreboards know that I am very often 5 to 10%. So 10 to 15 is a bullish argument for me. I'm probably going to say I'm at the low end of that spectrum, but the share price has pulled back recently. Even after that pullback, Carlisle has seen pretty strong gain over the past several years, though. That's kind of why my safety score is a bit low. I think that it has been riding some favorable trends that not very much probability of them reversing in the immediate future, but it could be that you see some reversal further down the road. And so I think you do need to expect some volatility long run in the stock.
I went with 15 plus, safety score of 6. And historically, over the past 20 years, the company's averaged about 17.5%, 18% annualized. So kind of fitting with its historical trajectory. The construction market is quite strong right now because of AI infrastructure. And what that's doing is putting pressure on basically the rest of the industry, pulling up prices and things like that for even your typical, warehouse rehabilitation or whatever. So, that's going to work for them. And at the same time, it's currently trading at 14 times free cash flow is a more than reasonable valuation for this type of company, even if it is a slow growth. And I just gave it a lower safety score because of the uncertainty in, the 3 or 4 year outlook that we might be looking at here if we were to see some moderation in AI spending kind of leading to like an oversupply.
Thanks both Tyler and to Dan. They've been giving Carlisle Companies strong overall score of 7.8 out of 10 with no top hits. Both of them are pretty bullish despite the kind of uncertainty and cyclicality. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Lennox International. Until then, Fool on.